Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I would like to gift my book, The Golden Key, Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance to you at goldenkey.gift, where you can get the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD at checkout.
Hello. That's Karen Kilgariff.
And that's Georgia Hardstark.
We're the hosts of My Favorite Murder, the true crime comedy podcast from Exactly Right Media.
This summer, as you kick back, hit the road, or continue indoor times, we invite you to treat yourself to episodes of our show on Amazon Music.
Whether you're a lifetime fan of true crime or you just feel like hanging out without the burden of human interaction, our show has something for everyone. Listen to new episodes of My Favorite Murder 1 week early on Amazon Music.
Download the free Amazon Music app and listen today.
So much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality, and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life, well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the one who will be here with you each and every Wednesday, interviewing a different consciousness changemaker that is also out there working tirelessly to help catalyze change and expand awareness all across Spaceship Earth. On the other 4 weekdays, you can hear me discussing topics such as my favorite thought-provoking quotes, reading and discussing wisdom from empowering books, playing clips from various inspirational spiritual teachers, sharing a bit of mysterious news, taking questions from the audience, and essentially digging into any other mind-expansive topics that will help keep your soul fed by tuning you into positive vibrations on a consistent basis. All right, all you positive heads, welcome back to another episode. So happy to be here with you as always. Have some exciting, fun stories of adventure to share with you guys today. I just got back from Lucidity Festival. It was magical as always, and had some great lessons and synchronicity and stories that, of course, came out of my experience there this past weekend. And so I thought today would be a great day to just share with you guys a little bit about some of the lessons that I learned, some of the cool magic that took place. It is, as you guys have heard me say before, you know, these transformational festivals are such a magical container for so much goodness to arise, so much growth. And when you get that many people together who are sort of heading in the same direction, all working on themselves, or for the most part, all, you know, I'm sure you have a mix of everything in there, but for the most part, you just have this super high vibe, super amazing group of people. Of course, there's psychedelics, medicine around that is helping many people to sort of open themselves up, which is, by the way, a great tool to use temporarily or or maybe not temporarily. You can use it on an ongoing basis. But one of the lessons that came through to me on the first night there was how important it is to use it as a medicine. And when it becomes a sort of a crutch or a habit, it becomes habitual, let's say, it can then really, like anything else, it can go from being really good to not necessarily getting the benefit anymore, and maybe even causing harm. It's just like water. If you have too much water, it can it can kill you. So, and of course, on the flip side of that, water is life. It is everything. So, it's super important to get that, I believe, for people who are using medicines and tools. And like myself, I've used them and even used them some this weekend, and they're great in the right context. And of course, we've been talking about that from time to time. So that's one of the things that I learned this weekend that came out. Actually, I met a girl who had just had a full-blown integration with her higher self weeks earlier. She, was telling me this amazing account of like fully, merging with her higher self and seeing things from that perspective, and how powerful that was. And that was sort of the higher self message that came through, which I'd been getting all kinds of similar messages earlier in the evening, like how important it is to sort of use these things respectfully and not get into a habitual pattern just because it's, I'm in this setting, this is what I do here, right? Not necessarily so. And that was the higher self message that came through from her that I felt was worthy of sharing for any of you guys that are out there using medicines. Is it a habitual thing? Is it is it being used in a sort of a sacred manner, in an approach that is all about expanding your consciousness? It's not just doing it for the sake of doing it. And if you are doing it for the sake of doing it, you're probably seeing that you're not getting nearly as much out of it anymore. So maybe it's not, you've gotten what you can from that tool, right? That's one thing I wanted to share. And I ended up jumping right into story mode. I was going to read a review first. So let me back up a little bit and do that. I have a review on iTunes because I have more stories to share. That's just the very quick, short version of a lesson that I learned this weekend. So that I'd like to share before I get into a few other stories. And this one, let's see, it came from Sarah Ann. Sarah Ann said, leads to your own power. This podcast helps the listener to understand the power that exists in all of us to create the kind of life and the kind of person we want to be. Every podcast I listen to, I come away with at least one new idea to put into practice, or I get validation on what I believe. Listen with an open mind. You won't be sorry. Good work, Brandon, and thank you. Oh, thank you, Sarah Ann, for taking the time out of your busy day, I'm sure, to share and complete the circle of love that I'm putting out into the world. This definitely fuels my fire to continue, and it helps us to reach new listeners. So if you guys haven't reviewed on iTunes, please do so. Of course, you can find the show elsewhere, Google Play, any of the podcast apps, SoundCloud, the positivehead.com website. But iTunes is sort of the holy grail of all things podcasting. So by leaving reviews there, it helps us to climb in the ranks, reach new people, which then leads to reaching new people, and spreading this is a good thing, right? So thank you, Sarah Ann, for doing that. All right, jumping back into a little recap of some of the things that I learned and some of the magic that happened for me at Lucidity Festival this weekend. I actually only made it to one workshop. And of course, there's a lot of music. For those of you who aren't familiar with transformational festivals, there's a lot of music, a lot of very high vibe music, a lot of workshops during the daytime, so much connection. Like I said, a magical container to create. So much can come out of it for so many people, and does. And for me, I only made it to one workshop. And of course, it was the workshop that I needed. I had sort of synchronistically heard a girl talking about it in line, waiting for some food, and got talking to this person who actually I'd like to have on the show sometime. She did an epic job, and I talked to her a little bit about that after the workshop. So that's forthcoming, most likely. And anyway, heard her talking about the workshop, what it was about, and how she had received this download years earlier that led to this epic guided meditation. So ended up going a few hours later and attending her workshop. And she opened it up, and the workshop was called Imaginal Awakenings. If I'm remembering correctly, I'm pretty sure it's Imaginal, and I think it was Awakenings. But basically, what she was sharing was, once again, it was a something that had come to her after lots of meditation. This holographic download that came to her in this epic fashion, and it had to do with she tied in. She calls it Imaginal Awakenings because she uses the example of Imaginal cells, which are, if you guys have ever heard of them, they're in the butterfly. It's a biological term, and I'll read a little clip here that's similar to the way she explained it of what Imaginal cells are. And she said, or this article that I found this article on imaginellabs.com. And it's this little clip explaining Imaginal cells says, after a period of ravenous consumption, a caterpillar finds an appropriate perch and forms a chrysalis. So far, so good. The end result we know is a butterfly. But the truly astonishing thing is that there's no structural similarity at all between a caterpillar and a butterfly. Inside the chrysalis, the caterpillar, unable to move, actually dissolves into organic goop. Cells which had been dormant in the caterpillar, and which biologists have the poetic genius to call Imaginal cells, begin a process of creating a new form and structure. At first, these Imaginal cells, the seeds of future potential, which contain the blueprint of a flying creature, operate independently as single-celled organisms. They are regarded as threats and are attacked by the caterpillar's immune system, but they persist, multiply, and connect with each other. The Imaginal cells form clusters and clumps, begin resonating at the same frequency and passing information back and forth until they hit a tipping point. They begin acting not as discrete individual cells, but as a multi-cell organism, and a butterfly is born. So this is just a fascinating idea, right? So you have this caterpillar. It's going about as Ema, the woman, Ema Rose was her name, that gave this wonderful workshop. As she explained very eloquently, this caterpillar is going about and it's just consuming everything in its path. It's destroying its environment. It's eating the tree. It's eating the leaves. It's disregard for sort of everything around it. And making a comparison maybe to the former human self that we're all evolving out of, right? We've done lots of that sort of thing. And what happens is these Imaginal cells are start popping up within the caterpillar. And the caterpillar's immune system is saying, hold on, this is not us. This is not native. This is something wrong. Let's attack it, right? And so it attacks these Imaginal cells, but they persist. And as they pop up, as those of us who are popping up on this planet and awakening, right, and starting to come together, they start connecting with each other. They form clusters and clumps, sort of what's happening at a transformational festival, right? Or with this podcast as we all come together, or other similar groups that are happening out there, right, and connections. They begin resonating at the same frequency. They begin passing information back and forth until they hit that tipping point. And this is what is the beginning of the end for the caterpillar, right? Such a great perspective in comparison to what's happening on our planet, right? As we all come together, as we all are imagining a brighter future where we are respectful of the environment, we treat each other as extensions of self, and that becomes the operating system from which we do all things. How everywhere I go, I'm there waiting for myself. I'm treating you as an extension of me. I see the magic in you. I see the magic in me. I know that I'm one with the source that created all things. And so these next level cells that we're all waking up to become, and that is dormant in us all, right? It's all there in potential. The blueprint is there for the flying creature, the butterfly that we're all meant to become. And eventually the old cells break down. They break down into goop, right? But all that maybe pain or negativity that is represented by the goop that is maybe breaking down in our society, right? That is the fuel that actually feeds these new cells in the chrysalis that then help to transform it into this whole different creature, right? And so what a fascinating example. And then she went on, after explaining this, she went on to take us through this epic guided meditation that was super powerful. And so, of course, what happens after this? Everywhere I go, the rest of the weekend is a butterfly this and butterfly that, and just coming up all over the place. And then I ended up later that evening. I ended up deciding no sort of medicine for me that night. I'm going, that whole day, I'm going to be clearly present and here to serve. And my intention was to find anyone who needed any sort of maybe help or perspective that I can offer, right? With my perspective. And so I end up running into a very dear friend of mine, Alex, and one of her good friends is in town. And from Chicago, I believe. And this friend from Chicago was having a tough time. She's working in a jail and, having sort of a dark night of the soul type of experience. And so I end up in deep conversation with her about how important it is to bring love and magic to whatever it is you're experiencing. You're going through that hardship. You're going through that tough time. Find the beauty in it. Love yourself there. Quit being so hard on yourself, for this is actually a part of your process, right? This going through this. Don't resist it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't hate yourself for it. Instead, love it and find the magic. Find the joy. Your job is radically reaching for a perspective that brings gratitude. Fear cannot be present in the face of gratitude, right? So if you're having fearful thoughts, change to find things to be grateful for. If you're bringing gratitude forward in any moment, there is no room for fear. So you replace the fear with things to be grateful for. You reach for them. You're looking radically. You're being over the top with your gratitude, right? So as I'm explaining this to her, getting into this deep conversation, then, of course, I just shared with her the whole butterfly story that I had learned earlier that morning. Well, in walks a guy who is just dressed funky as he can be, just silly, high vibe, amazing energy. And this guy comes up and goes, "Hey guys, literally, I just told her, find things to radically be excited about. And I just told the butterfly story. This guy came, "Hey guys, I want to share with you, I want to take you to Fantastic Land. You guys ready to go to Fantastic Land?" And he's just going on and on about Fantastic Land. And of course, we're kind of looking at each other like, okay, yeah, let's go to Fantastic Land. Sure, this is a great breakup from this deep conversation we just had, or we're in the middle of, that he sort of interrupted. Well, what is Fantastic Land? He pulls out his phone to show us. This guy, what does he do? He takes and sets up butterfly gardens all over at all these different schools. And he proceeds for 30 minutes to show us hundreds of pictures of butterflies. And them, here's one. Look at Bob, the butterfly here. He's doing this. It was just like this silly, beautiful, amazing, radical gratitude. Oh, look at this. I take it to old folks' homes too, because it helps them. And it's, this older woman playing with a butterfly, and he just goes on and on. He's radical gratitude, radical excitement for his life as this butterfly gardener. The next thing he goes on to say, "Now come outside, guys. Come on. You got to see my bike." We go outside. What's his bike? A giant converted butterfly. It was absolutely magical. It was absolutely beautiful. Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Athletic Greens. I recently went to a naturopathic doctor who did some testing and determined I was having issues with gut health. So when I had the opportunity to start taking Athletic Greens, I jumped at the chance. With 1 scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins and minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. It not only helps with your gut health, it helps your nervous and immune systems, energy levels, and more. And since it contains super high quality ingredients in powder form, it has a very high absorption rate, whereas many pills don't. With just one scoop in a cup of water, you can arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition for less than $3 a day. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give Positive Head listeners a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D, which many people are quite low in, as well as 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/positivehead. Again, head over to athleticgreens.com/positivehead to take ownership over your health today. Then, of course, it goes on even more. It just continues. The next morning, when I'm going to leave, there's these giant, beautiful caterpillars that are crossing the road on the verge of getting run over by cars that are exiting. And me and my friends see them, and we start, I like help save them. And I'm like, oh, here's more butterflies and caterpillars. And, we're saving the caterpillars here. Cool. This is awesome. And I, of course, referenced how much synchronicity there'd been with it. Well, even a little bit more. So then I get home, and there is a artist that I met briefly at Lucidity, and who I played played one of her songs a few weeks back, Lavender Fields, and we had been talking about her coming on and playing maybe even live at some point here in the near future, which looks like may happen. And so I had met her briefly there, and I got home, yesterday evening, and just, kind of unwinding, looking online. And she had emailed me and said, hey, I had such a magical time Saturday night where this, I ended up leaving early, and, she was just explaining kind of what her experience was. She had this deep, profound sort of enlightening experience, right? Download sitting in a sacred fire with a group of people. And what did someone tell her about? I went on to read the blog that she wrote about her experience. It was all about the butterfly and this experience, the butterfly going from the same exact story. I don't know if it was Ima that it was there at the Sacred Circle telling the story, or it was one of the other handful of people that attended the workshop. I mean, you got 5,000 people at the festival. There's probably, 7 people at this workshop. It was not packed. And so she ended up at the same time I'm dealing with Fantastic Land Saturday night. She's sitting at a sacred fire and hearing the same story, and it having a profound impact on her, so much so that she wrote a whole blog on it when she got back. So just absolutely keeps going on, and just so magical. So you'll actually hear some of her music again here in the future. As I mentioned, we've talked about her coming on and playing even possibly live, but I just thought that was really, really cool how much happened. I mean, that's an example, guys, of the magic that can happen at these events. And when you get yourself into a container with such heightened energy and such, openness and love, and everyone, so many people looking at the world through, magical eyes, right? Through eyes of like wonder and belief in, something greater than ourselves that can come and play and interact with us. And I even had a little bit more of that. One other experience I'll share with you guys that I had was spending some good time with my friend, my dear friend and brother, Shane. And he is, I always jokingly say he's from another planet. This guy is like an alien. His energy is unbelievably off the chart. And it had been a little while since we've spent that much time together. And it was just, amazing as always. And one of the things that he said during our time together is that I heard him say before, and I've heard before in general, but it really sunk in. He said, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And, what a powerful concept, right? And so that's the other thing. As I was packing up the next morning, I was thinking of that and how, one of my lessons throughout that weekend was not forcing anything, not trying to make anything happen if there's someone that I wanted to connect with, or something that I wanted to do, or an experience that I wanted to have. putting that out there, as we talk about all the time on the show, right? And then letting it go, not needing any of it to happen. And also doing things. The other thing I'd been focusing on a lot and lessons that were coming through for me was not forcing anything and not being too in a hurry, right? That's something that I'm very prone to do. I think fast, I talk fast, I move fast, and that brings with it that excited energy which can lead to agitation, which can lead to there's not enough time, right? And so I was very cognizant of this and really contemplating this. And as I was packing up my car, and on the way here, on the way to the festival, I packed my car kind of messily and just quickly, and in that sort of hurried state, not enough time to do all the things, And as I'm packing up on the way home and I'm contemplating the way you do anything is the way you do everything, and how you find the joy in everything. Packing up, for a lot of people, you've had this long weekend and you're tired, and maybe you've spent too many endorphins and you're just like kind of spent. And I had stayed up all night the night before. I mean, slept for a few hours at sunrise, but yet I was just high on life and finding the beauty in packing up and seeing how I was noticing how easily everything was packing together. Like it was like this perfect, when you're packing your car to go camping or putting a lot of things in, it's like sort of like Tetris. Like I mentioned on the way there, it was like very messy and unorganized. And then this time it was like this most perfect Tetris. Everything was just going in such an interesting way. It was like, wow, look at how perfectly this fit. Look at how perfectly this fits. And I was really noticing this. And my friend, my other brother, Tyler, comes up and he starts helping me to pack a little bit towards the end. And I mentioned to him, I was like, Shane had mentioned the way you do anything is the way you do everything. And I'm really trying to focus on slowing down, eating slower, moving slower. Anytime I find myself being in that hurry to make anything happen, just stopping that energy, right? And just relaxing into it. This is the path, the way for things to flow and allow things to come to you instead of you chasing them all the time. And we're having this, epic conversation about it. And I'm explaining all my insights and, that I had in regards to this. And someone walks up and just says, hey, he's like, introduces himself and says, oh, you're packing up. That's the best part, right? I mean, this is the funnest time. This is the best, this is the best part of the whole festival, right? Which I look at Tyler and I'm just like smiling, like, yep, it's the best part. I'm literally just explaining to him, bringing awareness to the experience, finding the joy in this experience that normally is looked at as the drudgery part, right? And then, of course, here comes the guy, just like Fantasticland guy, putting an exclamation point on the point I just made with Emily, the girl from Chicago. Same exact thing, Look, you're packing. Wow, cool, the best part. And then, of course, he introduces himself. His name is Abraham. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't meet too many Abrahams. I'm like, that's, that, of course, is the spiritual teacher energy that comes through Esther Hicks, who I share more than anyone else on the show. So just the way he was, his energy, and I'm not saying he was aware of that connection or not. It's so multi-layered, the onion, of our existence. But I definitely got such a strong sense of like this is somehow a connection and a wink from that energy, right? Abraham, who obviously I'm connected to in a way that I share that information all the time on the show. And so as he's walking away, he's like, says, I say something, well, I look forward to the next time we connect, Abraham. He goes, and he looks back in kind of a funny, mischievous way. And he goes, oh, I've already taken care of that. Don't you worry, or something to that effect. Right. And off he goes. And it was just, the feeling that was there with it, the magic that was there with it. It was really, really beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience. And I felt so connected and I feel so reinvigorated after these magical experiences that, by the way, any of us can have. And you don't just need to be at a festival. You can create magic by raising your vibration, meditation, getting into that state of excitement, of wonder, of wonderment. You can do it anywhere, at any time. And these containers, yes, do they make them maybe a little easier? Absolutely. Do I recommend all of you going to a transformational festival? If at all you can make happen, which of course you can. Do it. Yes. But it's not the only way. It's just a way. Just like, plant medicines or psychedelics. Same thing. It's not the only way. It's a way. And if you're doing that, be very respectful of it. And certainly don't let things get habitual. So that's my stories from Lucidity Festival 2017, and I'm sticking to them. Hope you guys have enjoyed a bit of my magical experience. Now that is your magical experience that you can take on, that you can integrate into your own world, because these messages aren't just for me. These lessons aren't just for me. They're for us. And I love you all. I have an amazing song here that I just heard to leave you with. For all you chosen ones out there, this is Ivory Coast. The song is Chosen, featuring Jess Martins. Until next time, journey well. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.